Hey folks, welcome back to Todd Bosley's world famous YouTube channel. Tonight we're going to talk about silver, gold, and platinum. These are three different entities. They're three different investments. They're three different types of precious metals. And many people who come into my store, they ask, what is the best investment? And that is a really good question, and it's one that I want to really do kind of a deep dive in tonight and explain to you how I feel about it, what I know about it, and try to give you a little bit of insight to where you should put your money for the long term. Stay tuned. So for this video, I thought about interviewing several different people, but then at the end of the day, I thought, well, I'm on the front lines. I'm the person that talks to all the different people that come into the store, and I get a really good sense of where they are and what they're looking for. You get to hear a lot of different opinions when you're standing at a counter all day and you hear people tell you, "Hey, I'm interested in buying this, and here's why." Obviously, I think pretty much most of us will agree that silver, right here, now this is American Eagle, is probably the single best precious metal that you can put your money into. And let's talk about why that is to start out with. Silver has the most potential to go the highest of any of the metals, in my opinion. I'm not an investment advisor, and every time we do a video like this, we have to say we're not investment advisors. We're not telling you where to put your money, so I'm telling you that right up front. But from a person who's involved with this on a daily basis, silver is being utilized now for a lot of different uses. Obviously, we know solar panels, we know medical, we know all that stuff. But it's also being used a lot in this electric car phase that we're in. Now, will that be something? Probably will. Gasoline is probably not going to work out long term for the planet. It's probably not going to work out long term for us. But anyhow, at the particular state that we're in right now, gasoline engines are where we're at. That's if you want to go from Ohio to California, you better have a gasoline engine because an electric engine probably won't take you that far. So when we're talking about silver, now we're talking about the future. So this is being used a lot for electric cars. Will electric cars be successful? I don't know. But we also know there's a ton of manipulation with silver. Silver is extremely manipulated. There are lots of big companies. We don't have to get into their names, but you can look at most of the big banking names, and they know how to manipulate silver. So silver, although it's lower than it has been, it's also a little bit higher than usual, still has the propensity to go higher, much higher actually. So I like this one the best. Now let's talk about a 5,000 year investment right here. Gold. Gold's been around for 5,000 years. It doesn't go real fast, so it's not a sports car, but it pretty much stays steady and it has good incline for most of its history. Gold rarely has gone down. It's supposed to be a good inflation fighter, and for the most part it does fight inflation, except what I see going on now. I mean, I see high inflation and I see gold still all over the place, so it's kind of complicated. I believe in gold. I think gold should be part of your portfolio. It's not as good as silver, that's for sure, in my opinion. It's not as good for potential earnings, but this is more of something that you probably can count on long term. Now, when it comes to gold, that's a 1 ounce, and that's a good way to go. There are smaller amounts of it, and they're also like vintage coins. Like you can get like these older. This is a $5 coin. It's not worth as much. It has a little bit of a numismatic play to it. There's a lot of foreign gold that you can put into your portfolio. This one's kind of nice. Show that to you. That's from the Perth Mint. There's a lot of different gold things you can do. This is a $20 gold piece. If you've never seen one of those, it's really nice. But again, expect to pay more of a premium for it. I like those. I own several of those just because I think there's sometimes with gold, because it's more stable than the other precious metals, that a little numismatics to gold is not a bad thing, because as gold goes up, the numismatics usually go up. This is a half ounce of gold. I like that. Crew ran. That's not a bad deal right there. If you can buy it right, it just depends on the premiums that you're getting into. So silver's my number one, gold is my number two, and then let's get to this one. This is the trickiest of all. This is platinum. Now, when we think about record albums, we think about credit cards. So there's silver, gold, and then platinum. But what's weird about platinum right now is it's under $1,000 an ounce. Gold's around a little over $1,800 and silver's over $21. But this is only at, let's say like it's like about $950 or so. So when you leave silver and gold, now you're moving to industrial. Industrial is really complicated because if you think about cars and catalytic converters, things that deal with gasoline or diesel, now we're talking about platinum and palladium. And some of you may not know what palladium is. I don't actually own any of it any longer. I used to own it for a while. Palladium has traded in the $600 to $800 range for many years. Now all of a sudden it's worth $1,500. Platinum has usually been worth more than gold, at least for the last probably 7 or 8 years. And now platinum is at $950. It's almost half of what's gold's value. So I started looking into how that could be. Here's what I came up with. At the end of the day, platinum is an industrial metal. So it's used more for industrial uses than gold or silver. So here's the issue with that. So palladium right now used to be $600 to $800. It's now around $1,500. Platinum used to be around $1,800. It's now at $900. So when we get into the industry uses, once palladium becomes too high, platinum and palladium are pretty much great substitutes for each other. So do car manufacturers move from palladium to platinum? Probably. So this is a riskier investment, in my opinion, for a couple different reasons. So it's tied to industry, which I do not like. I hate that part of it. I like gold because people put gold away. They view it as a substantial vehicle for the future. Silver, people are really mixed on silver. So people love silver and people hate silver at the same time. Silver can let you down, it can build you up, it can give you false hope. Literally, silver dropped from $48 to $38 in one day within the last 15 years or so. Could you imagine if you thought, wow, silver's going to really go up? I'm going to buy a bunch of it. And I know somebody this happened to. Well, actually, I know somebody that I sold silver to, and I sold them a lot of silver. And like just the day before, it dropped $10 the day after they bought it. And well, anyways, that wouldn't be a good spot to be in. So silver is very volatile. Gold's not as volatile as silver, but gold can still go down $100 in a day easily. I've watched it happen before. So any of this stuff that we're talking about, this isn't like day trading. You shouldn't be buying things to sell it the next day. You shouldn't buy silver at $21 and think tomorrow it's going to be worth $35, because it won't be. It won't be. This is long-term stuff. This is a investment that you put your money into, and you say, okay, 10 years from now, or 5 years from now, or maybe even 40 years from now, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, is this something that I want to sell? When I look at an investment like this, I don't view it as day to day. If I was buying it because I needed something tomorrow, I wouldn't do that. Put your money in a savings account. Try to get an online savings account and make some money with it. Gold and silver is not built for that. It never has been. But the purpose of this video, just to get back to the point, is should you buy platinum, gold, or silver? If you ask me, I would buy silver. Now, I wouldn't buy all silver, but I would buy the majority of silver. Let's talk about if I wanted to put $100 into these metals. Platinum, zero. Put nothing in that at all. Forget that. Gold, I would buy probably 25% gold and 75% silver. That's what I would buy right now. Now, that doesn't mean I would never buy platinum ever, but platinum has its own issues. The first issue we talked about was that it's tied to industrial market. But the reality of platinum is that most coin stores do not deal in platinum. And if you deal in platinum, you're talking about large spreads. So even though this may be on the market at $950, it may cost you $1,050. It may even cost you $1,100 to buy this. Gold, on the other hand, depending on what you buy, it has about $100 spread also, but is much more recognizable and is traded by every single coin shop in the whole world. Everybody wants gold. Silver has much lower premiums. So if you bought this, well, we shouldn't talk about eagles because eagles are just way out of control right now. But if we just talked about a straight ounce of silver, everybody makes a Buffalo Indian. That's like their main thing. If you bought a Buffalo Indian, you would expect to pay somewhere between $3 to $5 over spot, and when you sold it, you should be selling it for between $2 to $3 over spot. So there's a couple dollar spread on silver. The great thing about silver, though, is that you can take it to any shop in the U.S. You don't have to send it online, and you don't have to sell it on eBay because they charge you like crazy to do that. And then you got to hope you don't get a scammer on the other end that acts like it isn't real. Believe me, we all have those stories. But gold and silver is easily exchangeable for cash, depending on if you want to do larger sizes. I'm showing 1 ounces of everything tonight, but remember that most people deal in 1, 5, or 10 ounces. That's typical for most of us. Now you can get into kilos, and then you can get into like 100-ounce bars of all of this. Silver is where you'll see the most 100-ounce bars. I like a 100-ounce bar myself. It's a nice big chunk of silver, and if I ever have to melt it down or cut it up, I can do that. Me personally, I can do that. I know that everybody can't do that, but that's your lowest premium. That's usually the best way to go. So when you look at where we are as a country, where we are as a world, and what's going on, I think that you have to start to get concerned about some of the things that are going on. And this is not me talking politically. I'm not talking as a Republican. I'm not talking as a Democrat. I'm just talking about us as a team. Because as a world, we have to become more of a team. When you look at what happened in the 1970s, Jimmy Carter was our president, which I don't necessarily completely blame him for everything. There was a Federal Reserve chairman that was pretty much out of control, in my opinion. You can do your research on that and see what you think. But basically, Congress just gave him the say-so, and they said, do whatever you want. And, I mean, interest rates were between 15 and 20% for a long time. And we've watched other countries. I mean, if you look at Japan, if you look at just Europe as a whole, and unfortunately, if you even look at the U.S., what's going on right now, you'll see that, I mean, inflation is a major problem. And the answer to our problems is not just printing money, printing money, printing money. Remember, before the Roman Empire was the Roman Empire, it was a whole different scenario there. And their answer to the problem was to print money. And the Roman Empire continued to print money until the Roman Empire ran out of money because everybody lost faith. Now, they were using coins back then. They weren't printing dollar bills, but everybody lost faith in all of that. And it just went on and on and on. And some of the things that concern me today are robots. That's one of the things that concerns me. Self-driving cars. All of this stuff that we're talking about the elimination of jobs. And jobs are scarce in the U.S. now. I mean, we have what they call a labor shortage, but in reality, we have a talent shortage, in my opinion. We don't have enough talent. We don't have enough people that just say, let's go get it done. That's really not our mentality anymore. So, that again, this is not a political thing. This is just me talking to you about the things that concern me. And I'm most worried, I would say, probably about the robots. Because if you look in China, even in China, Europe, I make products in China. One of the other businesses that I own, we manufacture more than one different kind of product in China. And you can see China now is moving towards robotic labor. And robotic labor can replace hundreds of people at one time. So it takes one guy to run hundreds of robots instead of hundreds of people, to do a job. That takes money away from all of us. I'm not saying it's a terrible thing. I mean, a robot doesn't get sick. I guess maybe it could fail, but you know what I'm saying. It shows up for work probably more than a human can. It doesn't have all of the other issues that come with that. But as a team, because that's how we have to think. I mean, we're all a team, whether we want to be divided, whether we're different than Latin America, which has totally screwed up their finances down there. I mean, they're printing money like it's a joke, an absolute joke. I mean, if you look at Mexico, they change their currency every 10 years. So if you're holding old money, it's suddenly worth nothing. But anyhow, I guess that's just a side to where I see all of this going. And I just see money being printed that shouldn't be printed. I see a lot of experts saying that, man, things aren't going to be looking so good for the next 18 months. A lot of people say, don't buy any major things for the next 18 months. And to be honest with you, I think they're right. I don't think that it's a good time to buy a vehicle. I don't think it's a good time to buy a large real estate investment unless you can get it the right way. Now, I like real estate. I've been involved in real estate for more than 20 years. I think that real estate is one of the sure ways that you can make a lot of wealth. But when I see houses that used to sell for 120,000 that are now selling for 360,000, I'm like, well, that's not a good investment for me. That's not really where I want to put my money. So you have to buy on the 3Ds. The 3Ds are well known. My father used to say them all the time, and I actually heard them in a movie one time, although I don't remember exactly which movie it was. The 3Ds: death, divorce, or disparity. That's the way that you buy real estate. I believe that. That's the only way that you really can make any money, in my opinion. You can't go out and pay top dollar for it. And you want to be careful with rental property right now because, it was the last couple years, the government backed up a lot of real estate. They paid a lot of rent for a lot of people who couldn't do that. But right now, I just see an economy in the U.S. where people still sort of have the COVID mindset. We can work 3 days a week or 4 days a week, and I don't really feel like doing that. And I can tell you, like, I try to hire people to unload trucks. And to even find somebody or get somebody to show up, I've had to offer tickets to amusement parks. I've had to do all kinds of things and pay almost double what you would pay a normal employee to get anybody to even show up and do work. That kind of stuff is concerning to me. So again, this is not a political talk. This is not Republican, Democrat. This is how we can become a better team. And this is way off topic from where I even started because the original part of this was platinum, gold, or silver. Actually, I think any of these three are better than saving cash, if you ask me, because cash money loses money all the time. And these are a better investment for sure, long term. But if you want to buy it today and turn it into something special tomorrow, you may lose money. So you can't do that because everything is just way too volatile. But in my opinion, if I'm going to invest money, 25% in gold, 25%, 75% in silver, And as we start to see the platinum palladium market shake out, I might look into that. I like junk silver a lot if you can buy it at the right price. Junk silver is coins that are 1964 or older, and they're 90% silver. You just have to watch what you're buying. You have to make sure that what you're buying isn't worn out. A lot of Barber dimes, a lot of Standing Liberty quarters. If you get into that realm, you got to make sure that you're not buying really thin stuff. Remember, in the 1900s, a quarter was a lot of money, so they used it a lot. They say the saying is, not worth a thin dime. If you look at a lot of dimes from the 1900s, they are thin, they are worn out because people used them every day. I mean, that's what they bought their groceries with, and that was a currency that was used in the United States daily. And as a coin gets used, the silver gets worn off of it. So people that buy junk silver just have to be aware of that. Now, there are bullion buyers. I love being a bullion buyer. If, for instance, if you wanted to buy an ounce of platinum, there it is. That's what 1 ounce looks. Now, this is a coin by the U.S. government. This is Pam Swiss. This is a regular issue, private issue, not a government issue. And then they make smaller amounts too. So this would be a smaller 20-gram bar. So this isn't quite this is like 2/3 of an ounce, almost, but not quite. So there's a lot of different options that you can get into. Silver's still the best bet. Everybody that I know is betting on silver, that it's going to go up sometime in the future. But silver, you really have to have a longer outlook on. And I say 10 years. A lot of my friends that are dealers and brokers, they say in the next 5 years it'll happen. And then I even have some optimistic friends that say, well, this year in 2023, it's going to go to $50. I really doubt that. But you know what? You never know, because it is definitely volatile. It can go up or down very quickly. So that's my 2 cents on it. I'll tell you who I am. I'm Todd Bosley. I own Ohio Trading Coin and Jewelry. If you're interested in buying or selling, please give me a call, 330-323-9775. I'm available. That's my cell phone number. I post it. My cell phone number is what runs the business. Even though we're growing and we're a bigger business, much bigger business than we used to be, I'm always available, and I try to answer the phone as much as I can. So, folks, if you're going to put your money into precious metals, silver, gold, and then look at platinum or palladium, that's my opinion. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great night. I appreciate everything that my subscribers do. I appreciate all the subscribers that I have. I hope you hit the like button, and I hope you'll subscribe if you're not currently subscribed, and see all the great videos that we have. There's a lot of good information in the stuff we put out. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a great night. Bye-bye.